I really want to love homeschooling, but in reality, I'm overwhelmed, I'm burnt out, I'm frustrated, and I'm so over it. That was me about 4 years ago. Stick around to find out what I did to transform our homeschool into something that I love, that our kids are flourishing in, and I wouldn't trade for anything else. Hi, I'm Erin. I'm a homeschooling mom of 4 kids, ages 4 to 12. We are in the middle of our 7th year of homeschooling. 3 years into our homeschool journey, I had a 2nd grader, a kindergartner, a 4-year-old, and a newborn. Needless to say, I had a lot on my plate, and reality, I was kind of a wreck. I was at my wit's end and ready to just throw in the towel on homeschooling. Today, I'm going to share with you 5 things that I did to totally transform our homeschool into something that I love, in hopes that it will help you too. The first thing that you want to do is to find community. Early on in our homeschool journey, I was trying to do it all by myself. I'm pretty independent, and naturally I'm also an introvert, so I have to really go outside of my comfort zone to find and make new friends. But I came to realize that I needed to do that for me as well as I did for my kids. Finding a homeschool community has been one of the most important things that I've done for our homeschool and for my mental health. Homeschooling can be lonely, especially if you don't know anyone else doing it. We simply are not meant to do this life alone. And if we don't have community around us to encourage us and support us when we're struggling, or to provide inspiration and ideas when we need it, we can get depleted emotionally pretty quickly. So here are some places that you can find homeschool community if you are feeling like this is something that you lack. Now, things this year are a lot different with COVID than they have ever been before. So my guess is you have a whole lot more friends out there that might be homeschooling that you might be able to team up with to have some kind of educational partnership or just a fun group that you get together with each other for your kids to have friends as well as for you. Another place you might be able to find community is through a homeschool co-op. Now I realize again with COVID this year's a little bit different because there are a lot of co-ops either not meeting or they're meeting virtually or just things are different. But looking forward to the future as things open up again, look for places that you can join a co-op where you can be in partnership with other parents who are homeschooling their kids as well, so that your kids can learn from other people than yourself for a little bit of time, which is great for them. There are a lot of youth groups within churches for your kids to find community, as well as Bible studies or different things that you can get involved in to find community for yourself as well. And my bet is there are a lot of churches out there that have a good percentage of people that actually homeschool. So maybe check with someone at your church to see if they have any kind of homeschool groups there. Another place that might sound a little counterintuitive for building community is through social media. And this is because there are a lot of homeschoolers out there. There are Facebook groups, there are blogs, Instagrams, a lot of people out there that homeschool, and it's a great place to find people quickly and easily that homeschool in the way that you like to do. And you can really easily find your tribe through there and make connections, but you really have to be the one that kind of reaches out to make those connections. But it's a great place for you to find people that are living this lifestyle just like you. Social media is where I first found out about Wild and Free, and that joining a Wild and Free group for us has been one of the biggest blessings to our family. And that leads me into the next one, is to find a Wild and Free group or another kind of homeschool like nature group. There are a lot of people that get together for book clubs or different things like that. You might need to start something on your own if there isn't one out there. So don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone and reach out to make community. I guarantee you it will be a blessing in your life and your kids as well. The second thing to do is to focus on what is most important to you. Early on, I'd read blogs or see homeschoolers post about all these amazing things that they were doing, and I'd be thinking, how can I do that? How do they have time to do that? I have so many things that we have to do for our core subjects that there's no possible way we could fit stuff like that in. And then I had this epiphany. Who said that we have to run things like a school? No one. As homeschoolers, we have the freedom to design our day and our homeschools any way that we want. Yes, we do have to teach those core subjects because we want our kids to have a great education, but we have to get to the point of ridding ourselves of this idea that the only things that we are to be teaching our kids is reading, writing, spelling, math, science, and social studies. Boring. There's so much more to education than teaching the basic required subjects. And honestly, many of the most important and most interesting things that we learn are outside of those subjects. So push math, reading, and writing to the side for a minute. If this idea is new to you, I have a few things for you to do to think about in order to determine what those important things are for your family. Firstly, if your kids leave your home with only one thing that you were able to instill in them, what would you want that to be? Make sure you teach that. Secondly, what subjects, interests, or abilities do you want to ensure that your children learn about? Life skills even. Do you want them to be able to play an instrument? Or would you prefer them to spend more time outdoors? Or know how to defend their faith? Or how to grow and cook their own food? Work some of those things in. Thirdly, think back to when you were a kid. What thing would you have loved to have been able to learn about in school? Can you incorporate that into your family? I bet you can. Lastly, even better than that, ask your children what they want to learn about, or figure out how you can incorporate lessons about things that you know that they would love. If you place an emphasis on teaching what is most important to you at your core, even more than some of the other traditional school subjects, you will always feel like the day was well spent, and you will find fulfillment in that time. The third thing to do is to adopt a daily routine or rhythm instead of a schedule. When I started homeschooling, I did what every responsible teacher should do. I made up a schedule showing exactly what time we would do each subject, with nice 5-minute breaks between every subject, just like I did in public school. And then about 15 minutes into our first day, I realized that young children, especially babies and toddlers, don't actually function that way. I felt like a failure every day that we didn't get to every subject that I had planned to do. I lost my temper when my toddler interrupted our lessons. I got frustrated when unexpected events pulled us away from our schoolwork. It took me several years of doing school this way before I realized that we don't have to follow a schedule. You don't either. This is your homeschool. You can do it however you want. I learned that it's actually infinitely more useful to me to develop a routine or a rhythm to our day rather than to follow a strict schedule. I mean, this is homeschooling. We are at home, and we can work out a daily routine that fits with our own individual families. And in reality, it's likely to change each year as new babies might be welcomed to the family, or just as kids get older and they're able to do more independently or for longer periods of time. It's more like real life. When you think about it, we don't compartmentalize our day by working at one task for 50 minutes and then abruptly stopping whether we're ready or not and shifting to the next task for another 50 minutes and so on throughout the day. That's just not real life. Having a family rhythm allows you the freedom to figure out a natural flow to your day and work around unexpected things that may come up, because Lord knows they will. Routines provide more of a peace to your day, allowing you to be flexible with how you spend your time. The fourth thing to do is to find your homeschool style. For years, I did things the traditional way. I had a different curriculum for every subject, for every kid, all on their own levels. The more kids I had, the more difficult and the more time intensive it became. We were so focused on the checklists and getting everything done that we had to do that we weren't having any fun. It wasn't until I found Wild and Free and discovered the Charlotte Mason method and began to implement many of her ideas and principles into our homeschool that's when we really started enjoying our time together more. I learned to let go of those checklists and to focus on relationships with my kids, enjoying them for who they are and working on developing their individual interests as well. It's amazing to see them blossom. Schooling this way was such a better fit for us. If you aren't enjoying your homeschooling process, there's a good chance that you might be using a homeschool method that doesn't work really great for you. If you're new to homeschooling especially, maybe you didn't even know that there were different ways to homeschool. So check out my video here that tells about the main homeschool styles and kind of what they're like, and then maybe make a change and see if it's a better fit for your family. The fifth thing to do is to make time for mother culture. Now, it's easy as moms, especially homeschool moms, to pour yourself into your kids so much that you don't take time for yourself, and you kind of lose who you are in the process. For me, I was so focused on what I needed to teach my kids that I never spent any time building myself up, which quickly led me to feeling empty and kind of wondering where I went and who was I anymore. If you've never heard the term mother culture, it's kind of this idea of continuing your own education as a lifestyle. It's finding time to learn something for yourself, as well as the ever popular self-care. I would even venture to say that personal development is self-care. It's retraining ourselves to believe that we're worth building up, and making time for ourselves is so critical to our own personal fulfillment. There's a great quote by Louise Penny that I just love. She said, "Life is change. If you aren't growing and evolving, you're standing still, and the rest of the world is surging ahead." I don't know about you, but I want to be in the forefront of that surge. I don't want to be left in the dust. The other important aspect of taking time to improve yourself is that your kids will see you do it, especially if you talk to them about what you're learning. If you are being that role model for them to see that you love to learn and that you play an active role in continuing your own education, then they're more likely to see that learning is fun and it doesn't just stop once school is completed. And then they'll reach that goal that we all desire, for them to be lifelong learners. So take some time to think about what you would like to learn about. How can you develop your skill sets or knowledge in an area? Start with just one thing and focus on that for a while. Share with your kids what you're learning about and just have fun diving into something new. No one flourishes when they are stagnating. And I so hope and pray that you're able to flourish in your life and in your homeschool. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope that this video was encouraging for you and that you found maybe even just one little nugget of something to try different to change up your homeschool and make it into something that you're truly gonna love. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up below. Share it out to anyone you think might find it useful, and make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you know when I post new videos. Thank you so much for watching. Be blessed today. Bye-bye.